What's good? Episode 25, Swishes, Hits, and Kicks, with your host, Richard Carrion, and we back again. We back on a Wednesday. It is 9/11. You know, remembrance on 9/11, man. What has it been? It's been 23 years. 23 years since one of the biggest tragedies in our country's history ever happened. I remember exactly where I was. I was chilling. We were about to head to school. Mom's had on the Today Show. Matt Lauer and Katie Couric was like, something's going on, and they went. I remember my mom was kind of freaking out, talking about the plane just hit a tower. I'm a little kid. I'm about 11. I run over. I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And she's like, I don't know. People are attacking us. And my dad was tripping. Went to school. That's the topic of conversation, man. They even wheeled in like a little TV to talk about it. It was interesting. It was really different. It was wild. It was crazy to think. First time then since Pearl Harbor something like that's happened to us. But then we went into the longest war in U.S. history. Interesting times. Actually, I got to talk a little bit about it with my students today. Obviously, as I told you guys before, I'm a teacher. That was an interesting conversation to have with my students. I was glad to have the combo. It was really good. Hearing from the perspective too of other students of like I have a lot of students that are from Afghanistan, and they were telling me, recently visiting, and just telling me how tough it is in Afghanistan, and how Taliban like groups are still there, and they basically control and terrorize the country. And 3 students literally spoke up in class and said how lucky they are and glad they are that they live here in America now. Because how hard it is in Afghanistan, one of the students is a girl, and she says, I can't even go to school, Mr. Carrion, if I was living there. Really? And they're like, yeah, and you still hear explosions and rockets every night. I'm like, that's crazy. And they're like, yeah, we don't over here, though. And I'm like, yep, greatest country in the world, baby. Don't ever let anybody tell you America ain't the greatest country in the world. It's a fact. If you don't believe it, it's because you don't live in it. Or if you live in America and you're like, this isn't the greatest country in the world, it's because you choose not to believe it. And you should probably get out. Being real. Anyways, let's talk about football. The NFL season kicked off last week. Last time we talked, my Raiders took that L against the Chargers. I couldn't believe it. I'm going to be honest with you. Our offense looked terrible. Madison looked great, but the rest of the offense looked terrible. I'm not even blaming the wideouts, O-line, quarterback. It's going to be a long year, I feel like. Unless we can get some miracle, you might have to put Aiden back in and give him a go. Defense worked their butt off, man, and just got tired. I think they were getting beat down eventually by the run. We're playing the Ravens this weekend. I don't know. NFL was interesting last weekend. Ravens and, the Chiefs was the perfect game to kick off the season. We saw a wild game with the Eagles and the Packers. The Steelers were able to pull one out, with Fields leading the way. The Bills were able to hold on against the Cardinals. The Titans lost it to the Bears. Caleb Williams did not look great, to be honest with you. It was shout-outs to their defense, though. I was surprised that the Patriots didn't kill, but they beat the Bengals. I did not expect it. Burrow did not look good, just saying. The Texans were able to hold on against the Colts. Shout-outs to Mixon. C.J. Stroud still the man, though. A lot of close games, man, except that Saints and the Panthers. The Saints game hurt me because Derek Carr, who I never wanted gone, got treated dirty by the Raiders. He did. Led his team, man, against the Panthers, who I don't know what the hell the Panthers are going to do. Like, I think everybody else thinking the same thing. Sam Darnold did good. The Giants, man, Daniel Jones, I don't know what the hell he's going to do. Seahawks, they held on to beat Denver. A lot of people are talking like, ooh, maybe Bo Nix ain't it. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's weird that we live in this era. Maybe it's because we're paying them so much money. These youngsters, we're paying them so much money, but like, I don't know how we just think that these young guys are just going to win for us right away, I feel like it's not even fair, kind of, to believe that these young guys, rookies, are basically going to hold on and beat all these experienced quarterbacks. I don't know. It's just different. I'm still a big believer in like letting your quarterback sit. Cowboys beat the Browns. Deshaun Washington, man, Deshaun Watson, my bad. Long day. He ain't it. Browns got robbed, man, in that trade, looking back. And the quarterback they got rid of, Baker Mayfield, is just still killing it in the Bucks. And then, Rams Lions was good. San Francisco was able to pull away from the Jets. It's funny, people are super upset about Rodgers and the Jets, and I'm like, dude, they played like the best team in the league, one up. Arguably top 4 team in the league. Oh, they didn't have McCaffrey. They still had every other freaking Pro Bowler on their team, all pro. This week we're looking at the Bills Dolphins tomorrow night. I'm recording this on Wednesday, 9/11. Bills and Dolphins, that should be great. That should be a good game. Oh, sorry there, guys. Little hiccup hit. Let's see what else. Who else do we got on tap? Saints, Cowboys. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I hope the Saints win, but I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. Bucks, Lions, heck of a game there. At Detroit, though, I'm gonna go Detroit. Colts, Packers, Colts all day. No Jordan Love playing, Colts all day. The Jets and Titans. The Jets are gonna come back. Jets are gonna beat the Titans. Titans ain't it. Niners, Vikings, Niners all day. Seahawks, Patriots, Seahawks should win. Commanders and the Giants, the Commanders should win. Daniel Jones sucks. Paid so much money, ain't it? Chargers, Panthers, Chargers. They don't care. Man, we might be able to put a college team right now against Panthers. Nebraska Cornhuskers, who knows? The Browns and the Jags. I like the Browns defense, but I'm going to go with the Jags. The Raiders and the Ravens. I'm going to tell y'all that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens. The Raiders are going to beat the Ravens. Now, would I bet money on it? No, I will not bet money that the Raiders will beat the Ravens in Baltimore. But as a Raider fan, I'm going to do what we do, and we are going to ride and die for our team. Will I be angry on Sunday? Yes. But are we going to win? Yes. And don't bet on it. Although we are predicted to lose by at least 9, which is so disrespectful. But we're going to win. That's because that's what we do as Raider fans. We always going to win. We're going to win the whole thing. In case you didn't know. Now you know. And hey, if we do win, then man, y'all heard it here first. Cardinals and Rams. Rams are going to win that. Excuse me. Steelers and Broncos. Steelers. Bengals, Chiefs all day. Bears, Texans all day. Monday night, Falcons, Eagles, Philly should win. Philly should be able to beat Atlanta. That's what's happening with football. Let's talk about another topic that pertains to football. Tyreek Hill got stopped before his game. And I'm going to say this first. He eventually made it to the game, right? He got detained for a bit, but made it to the game. I think he had a really cool celebration in the end zone, playing off of how his day was earlier in the day, getting handcuffed. And I am going to preface this with, I guess you'll say a law enforcement family. My wife is law enforcement. My brother's law enforcement currently, still too. Based off their opinions of watching everything, seeing everything, looks like he was in the wrong a bit. And I'm also a huge proponent of doing what the police officer says. My dad has always told us that, his sons, to do what the officer's telling you to do. My dad has also had many dust-ups with police in his time. Quite a bit, actually. And so his advice always was to do what the officer says. So, to this day, I still do what the officer says. And I think Tyreek Hill should have did what the officer said. Was it excessive? I think somewhat. I mean, he seemed to be complying with some of it. But I don't know. I'm still a big, do what he says. Don't be combative in a way. If they're telling you to go to your butt or to your knees or whatever it is, and you're not, that's considered resisting. He was speeding, driving recklessly. It's interesting when people get pulled over and they act like they don't know why. It's very simple. I still think, even though he says that he didn't want to use his like celebrity card or that he was whoever he was, I still think he kind of had that little bit of entitlement in him. If you see the body cam, but yeah, like honestly, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you that you need to listen. You need to listen to the police. That's why they're there. If you're like, no, I'm not going to, I have my rights, then you're gonna deal with the consequences that come. That's how I feel about it. You don't like it? Don't listen. Let's see. Let's go into some UFC talk. UFC 306, aka UFC Noche, is this weekend. It's supposed to be like the greatest like night in combat sports history. Dana White is recently saying this is going to be the night where it's really sports and entertainment. And I'm going to be honest with you, looking at the card, I do not see it. I don't believe him. The card is very lackluster. There's about 3 fights maybe on the card that are really worthwhile. I could say 4 just because I'm interested in one of the fighters, even though I don't even know who he's fighting. So that's, to me, something that's alarming. He did make a comment and say that it's going to be like a movie. There's going to be movies in between each fights. Should be interesting. I'm really curious how it's going to look for the viewer at home. I have a feeling when he talks about a lot of this stuff, he's talking about for the people that are actually going to the event. But I'm curious because he makes so much money off the pay-per-view. Like, the way some of the concerts look is like there's stuff going on in the background. So, like, what's going to be going on with the Octagon? Because the Octagon, as far as I know, is going to be on this, like, stage. Like, I don't know if there's going to be people surrounding them. So, because of that, like, they're going to be, like, on this one side. Like, is the screen behind them just going to be showing them fighting? Like, I'm not really sure. He's supposed to be, like, every fight has, like, a theme or a movie with, like, Mexican combat sports history. And it's interesting because, like, truth be told, I don't really care if there's a Mexican fighter on every card. I know some people that's a huge deal, but like to me, it's not that big a deal. The hard part is how are we going to relate those Mexican fighters that Dana White wants to honor? How are we going to relate them to some of the fighters that are fighting that night? So let's see. Looking at the card, I'm going to be real. I'm not going to tell you the prelims. Prelims are worthless. The only fight on the prelim that I really care about is Raul Rosas Jr.'s fighting. I can't even say the person's name he's fighting because like most sites don't even have the whole name, which is kind of sad. But he's fighting. He's on a prelim, which is weird. Then on the main card, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne, a flyweight fight that 2 fighters we've never heard before. I'm surprised it's on the main card. Usually UFC doesn't do that to flyweights unless it's like their hometown. But this is Vegas. That stuff don't matter. I caught myself trying to be not PG, guys. Then you have Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics. Then here we go. The big 3. Well, big for this card. It's Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Featherweight fight. Winner probably gets a title shot, especially if it's Diego Lopez. Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko 3. This is the 3rd time they're fighting. They just got done coaching the Ultimate Fighter. Women's flyweight title fight. And then you got Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Merab for the men's bantamweight title fight. Now, this is interesting because, like, I look at this card and knowing that Dana White said that they've spent more money on this event than they ever have before, I can tell the least amount of money they did was into this fight card. The highest paid guy is Sean O'Malley, followed by probably Valentina and Grasso, then followed by probably Ortega, Merab, and Lopez. I think that Sugar Sean makes more than the 5 of those I just named. Most of the money is Sugar Sean. There's no way a Conor McGregor could have been on this card. A John Jones, an Izzy, an Islam. There's certain guys that I'm sure the UFC could not put on this card, not because they don't have a Mexican fighting spirit, or even Alex Pereira. I don't think it's that. I think it's because they were priced out. At the end of the day, they are a business, and if Dana White spent $23 million on this card, There's no way that he's going to add another $23 million with how much he's paying the fighters. Because I don't know if you guys know this, UFC is a business about UFC first. They're not fighters first company. They're UFC first company. I don't know if they come out and say that, but like if you've been watching MMA or the UFC since Dana White and them took over the Fertittas in 01, they're not a fighters first company. They're a UFC first company. Now, do they give chances? They always say we give opportunities. Sure, they give opportunities. But like, are you compensated completely for the opportunities as you would other places? Probably not. But that's why the UFC is still the top dog and they're still in business. That's why the UFC is outlasting boxing. People can talk about boxing all they want. There's no Showtime boxing. There's no HBO boxing. Canelo's fighting the same night, and they're like, oh, and like most people are like, oh, he's probably outperforming the UFC. Yeah, but I bet his tickets are a hell of a lot cheaper than the Noche tickets too. And he's not even fighting the top guy. Boxers don't fight the top guys. It's very rare. And guess what? Canelo's not fighting the top guy. Why would he? At his age, I wouldn't fight the top guy. I'm going to make $50 million, $100 million fighting a guy who's not Benavidez, who's not Charlo. Why wouldn't you? I would. Boxing, that's the thing that's killed boxing, is boxers don't ever fight the fighters they need to. They wait and wait and wait and then give the fans this fight, and then the fans crap all over the fight because it sucks. It's like Pacquiao Mayweather. That fight sucks, dude. That was like the worst fight I've ever seen in my life. Why? Two guys, one severely past his prime, the other starting to hit past his prime. It was terrible. And then knowing that one of the fighters knew he was hurt but still took it just to make that $100 million, nah, I'm good. That's why, like, I'll be honest, I rarely watch boxing fights. I don't cover it a ton on this show because of that. Because I'm like, dude, boxing's lost so much luster. Unless it's like a big fight, there's really no point in talking about it because it's so hard to get two top boxers in the ring together anymore. And that's where Dana White wins. He always gets the top fights for his company. Now, do they all get paid? No. I mean, they get paid, but not like they probably should. But that's going to be forever. If I own the UFC, I'd probably be doing the exact same thing he's doing. So I can't really hate on him for it. Let's see. Something else I want to talk. You know what else I want to talk about? Oh, by the way, real quick picks. Oh, I'm only doing picks for the top three. I think Brian Ortega ends up choking out Diego Lopez. I think Alexa Grasso ends up winning. And I think Sugar Sean knocks out Merab. You can bet on it. I don't care. It's up to you. Shannon Sharpe on Twitter. Shannon Sharpe right now is trending pretty big because of some wild stuff that got posted to his Instagram. But Shannon Sharpe saying that that's not him. Yeah, he's saying that that's not him, which is hilarious because yeah, he's just saying that that's not him. He didn't do it, and his team's looking into it. That's definitely Shannon Sharpe doing some wild stuff. Wild stuff. Look into it. Wild stuff. I'm curious though when it comes out if he's gonna keep his job, because Chappelle. Excuse me. Sorry, not Chappelle. Paul Pierce kind of did somewhat similar things, and he got fired. So we're gonna see if they stand on that, and if that happens to Shannon. I hope it doesn't happen to Shannon. I hope it didn't happen to Paul Pierce, but business is business, right? Things they do. I want to talk about a couple movies coming out and movies I'm hoping to see here soon. I know Beetlejuice came out and I've heard terrible reviews for it from a few people that went. I know. Kind of sucks, right? Sad to hear. But besides Beetlejuice, Speak No Evil's coming out. Man, I can't wait for Speak No Evil. Comes out Thursday. I'm really hoping to go see it. The Killer's Game's coming out. Remember I told you guys that movie Am I Racist coming out? So weird. Such a random movie, man. Transformers 1 is coming out here soon. I'm really excited for that. Never Let Go. I haven't watched anything crazy recently either. Been really busy with stuff, personal stuff, school stuff, work stuff. But yeah, that's about it. Go follow us today, sometime, please. Go follow us on all social media. Swishes, Hits, and Kicks Pod. Swishes, Hits, and Kicks Pod. Okay. And you can tell I have to end this episode. Your boy's just getting tired. Go follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Go check out our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else, Johnny? Nope. That's episode 25. Thank you. Love it. Leave it. Bet I can't wait. Didn't know the rest of the lines, but that's okay.